So we'll wait for a few more seconds for students to join. Okay, so let's begin. A very good evening to all my kids. I hope all of you are safe, sound, and healthy. So prior to our lessons, let me introduce myself to you. Hello everyone, I'm Shalini. I am a BTech and MTech holder in computer science and engineering. I'm a teacher by profession with over 14 years of teaching experience. With Unacademy, I'm excited to provide an inspiring learning experience to students via this online platform. So before moving on to our lessons, let us see a brief tour over the description on Unacademy and its various subscription details. So Unacademy is the India's largest e-learning platform. So it's a very happening app now because it is not only for one stream or for one examinations that Unacademy is offering help for any aspirants, be it a school-going student or an aspirant who is preparing for a competitive examination. Unacademy offers courses of various kinds from all educators. See what you will get in Unacademy. You get daily live classes. Here in live classes, you are given a chance to chat with your educator, engage in the discussions, ask your doubts live, and also answer polls. All this while the class is going on. Okay. All the courses in Unacademy are well structured in line with the exam syllabus. So this will help you to prepare best. There are live tests and quizzes which will evaluate your preparation and give you an analysis of how well you are prepared to attend the examination, and surely unlimited access once you get the subscription. So since I'm dealing with class 12 computer science, now this is a comprehensive syllabus of class 12 wherein each subject you will see the different courses that are available offered by various educators associated with Unacademy. Now you can download the Unacademy app in your smartphones. I repeat, the students have to download the Unacademy learning app so that and get the subscription so that you will get access to all the courses that is in running by the top educators as well as all educators in Unacademy. Now here is a Telegram app. All you have to do is download the Telegram app in your smartphones, and then you have to type the link in the URL and click to join. Now this is a detailed description on the class 12 subscription fees of a CBSE offered by Unacademy. On the left hand side you have the different subscription and their rates, and ranging from 1 month subscription to a year, and these are the rates that are provided here. Now if you use my promo code SLYT, I repeat, my promo code SLYT, what happens is you will get a reduction of 10% discount on all the fee. So as a trial basis, you can go for a 1 month subscription, and then if you feel that it is worthy, you can go to a year subscription also. So let us start our class. So I'll be dealing with you CBSE class 12th computer science, and as per the CBSE NCERT syllabus, we'll be learning the programming language Python. Okay. So the topic for the day, or the lesson that we'll be dealing today is the jump statements and strings in Python. These are the contents that I'll be covering in today's presentation. The jump statements, the strings in Python, indexing of strings, determining the length of a string, traversing a string, the various string operator, and how can you slice the strings. Okay, so we'll see each one of them. Now, we'll start with a recap of what we had in the previous class. In the last class, we stopped at a topic called as jump statements, and we just saw these statements. So, the jump statements offered in Python are break and continue. Now, since these are the statements, these are the keywords. So, that means the keywords has to be used as such. Now, each keyword has a specific meaning conveyed to the language interpreter, and the particular action would be performed. Now let us see each one of these statements in detail. Now first is the break statement. Now the literal meaning of the word break says wherever you just break the line and then go out of it, right? So similarly, even in the classroom, when a break is announced, the class is going on and the break is announced, it is a time for the students to move out of the class, maybe to move to the canteen or the refreshment area, right? So similarly, the same purpose is being carried out in a programming language also. Now let us see how break statement is working in Python as a jump statement. As we saw in the last class, what is the meaning of jump statements? Jumping from a point to another point. That means the control is transferred from a point to another point. Now, what the break statement does is, it will skip the rest of the loop. So that means the statement is going to be used inside a loop. Okay. So it will skip the rest of the loop and jumps over to the statement following the loop. So I told you that the break statement is used inside the loop here. So what will happen whenever the statement is encountered? What does Python do? What it does is, it will ignore all these statements below the break statement, and then the control will come out of the loop. Okay. So let us first see how the working of break statement happens in while loop. We'll be seeing both the loops, and we'll see how break statement is working in each of the loop. Okay. Now first let us see how the break statement is going to work in the while loop. Okay. So the syntax says while test condition, and now we have the colon symbol to show that the body of the loop is going to continue next from the next line. So you have from statement 1 to statement 2. Now this is considered to be the body of the loop, or it is a compound statement. Now inside the while loop, now how will the control get inside the while loop? When the test condition comes to true, the control will be inside the while loop. If the test condition evaluates to false, it will not enter inside the while loop. Instead, the control would be transferred to statement 3. Now we saw how the working of loop happens in our previous class. Okay. Now I told you that from statement 1 to statement 2 is the body of the while loop. Now inside this body, I have enclosed an if statement. Now what is an if statement? It is a selection statement. Now how does if appear? The keyword if has to be written followed by the condition. Okay. So if condition, what have I written? The body of the if is going to continue. So I have written break here. Now what will happen when break is encountered? I'm sorry. What will happen when break is encountered? When the control reaches the break statement, it will transfer the control from this point and then move on to statement 3. So that means, is statement 3 a part of your while loop? No, right? So what is actually happening here? The loop is actually getting terminated. Okay. So the control will terminate from the loop and follow a statement outside the loop. That is what it does. What does the break statement does? So it skips rest of the loop and jumps over to the statement following the loop. Now let us see the same working of the break statement but in another loop, which is that loop, for loop. Okay. Now here is the syntax. So for variable in sequence. Now from statement 1 to statement 3 happens to be the body of the for loop. Okay. And from statement 4, it is a statement outside the loop body. Clear? Now what is going to happen? For variable in sequence. So as variable takes each value in the sequence, the loop body will be executed. Now inside the loop body, I have given an if conditional. Now how does if work? The condition associated with the if statement, if it evaluates to true, what will happen? Break will be activated. And if this condition, that is the condition associated with the if, goes false, break will not be executed. Now let us imagine the condition associated with the if is getting evaluated to true. What will happen? Break will have to be executed. Now what happens when break is encountered? The loop has to be terminated. Now transfer of control or jumping happens. Let's see from what point to what point. So from the point where the break was encountered to the last statement, that is the statement outside the loop. Which is a statement outside the loop? The statement 4. So what will happen? The loop gets terminated. Now in all these cases, when the loop is getting terminated, the statements below the break statement is ignored, or the system behaves, or the language behaves as if statement 2 and statement 3 doesn't even exist. So they are ignored and the control is transferred outside the loop, that is statement 4. Okay. Now we saw the purpose of break statement in both the loops and how it has to be used also. Next, let us see the next break statement. Now, which is the next break statement? Continue statement. Okay. Now, the literal meaning of the word continue says what? You have to go on doing what you're doing, right? This is what we decipher by the word continue. Now, let us see in the language also the same thing is going to be performed or something else. Now, what continue statement does? It will skip the rest of the loop statements and causes the next iteration of the loop to take place. So, the literal meaning of the word is also going to happen. Along with that, it will skip the rest of the loop statements. So, that means whenever a continue statement is encountered, the statement below it is ignored for the time being, and this loop is going to continue for the next loop value or the next iteration. So that is the purpose of using continue statement. Again, a jumping happens or a transfer of control happens from one point to another point here. Now let us see the working of the continue statement inside the loop. Now we saw that in both cases, that is in the case of both the jump statements, you are writing the jump statements inside the loops, and let us see how this is going to work. So while test condition, and this is a loop body from statement 1 to statement 2. Now I have enclosed the continue statement. I have attached the continue statement with the if conditional. Now when the if conditional evaluates to true, continue will be activated. Now what will continue do? It has to skip the rest of the loop statement. Now, which is the statement inside the loop after continue? Statement 2. So, this will not be considered, and then the loop is going to iterate again, but for the next value, not for the present value. I hope the idea is clear. And then after the entire loop gets evaluated, statement 3 will be executed. So whenever a continue is encountered, the statement beneath are skipped and the loop continues for the next iteration. So moving on to our next example. The next example is working of the continue statement in for loop. We saw that in working in the case of while loop. Next we are going to see how does it work in for loop. Now we write the syntax for the for loop here, and then inside the for loop we are writing continue. Now, something that we have noted here is in both cases, we have written the jump statement along with the if conditional. Okay. Now, it is actually believed to be a good programming practice to use especially the continue statement along with the if conditional. Okay. Otherwise, what happens is when a loop is getting executed, none of the times the loop body after the continue statement would be evaluated, or the statement will never get a chance to get evaluated. So when you're using it with preferably with if statement, you can reroute the program in the way it has to work according to your application. Now let us see the working of continue statement in the for loop. So I write for variable in sequence and then colon, and here is your body of the loop ranging from statement 1 to statement 3. Now inside the body I've written if this condition evaluates to true, there is a particular condition written along with the if conditional, and when it evaluates to true, continue has to be activated. Now what will happen? The definition of continue statement says that the statements below the continue, that is statement 2 and statement 3, will be skipped. The statement beneath are skipped, and where does the control get transferred to? A jumping happens from this point to the loop where the loop is defined. So what is going to happen? For the next value in the sequence, this loop is going to iterate again. Okay, so this is how continue is working. Okay, now both break and continue are jump statements, but both of them behaves differently. While one statement is allowing you to completely exit out of the loop, the other statement is asking you to continue the loop but for the next iteration, and also by skipping the statements beneath it. The first category we were talking about the break statement, and in the second category we are indicating the working of continue statement. Okay. So moving on to the next topic, that is strings in Python. Now we're going to see the next data type in detail, which is used in Python. Now to better understand the strings, let us first see the example and then we'll go on to a detailed description. Now see here, I have given 3 examples here. Okay, 3 variables of the name message1, message2 and message3. Now what are the values associated with it? Message1, I have assigned the value hello. Message2, I have assigned a value how are you, and message3, hello, how are you, hope you are safe. Okay. Now what are the speciality of values here? See, in message 1, the value was enclosed between single quotes, and what is the type of value? It is actually a collection of characters, right? And see message 2, it is enclosed between double quotes here, okay? And again, collection of characters. Now let us see message 3. Now what is the indicator here? We have triple quotes, okay? And again, we have a lengthy text. Now, comparatively, triple quotes enclose a lengthy text here. That is also an inference from our example. Now, all these that are enclosed between quotes, whether it be single quotes, double quotes, or triple quotes, are all characters. That means you have a sequence of characters, right? So here, message 1, message 2 as well as message 3 are all examples of string variables. So what is a string? String is going to be a sequence of characters. Okay, so hence all these variables are examples of string variables. Now let us see what a string is. Now it is a data type. It includes sequence of characters. Now how can that be enclosed between? It can be either enclosed between single quotes, double quotes, or triple quotes. So anything which is enclosed between single, double, or triple quotes can be treated as a string. Okay. And one more thing, when you're using triple quotes, it's actually a pretty long text or a lengthy text. Okay. Now, strings in Python are stored as individual characters in contiguous location. Now, this is another thing that we need to keep in mind. I told you that strings are sequence of characters. Okay. Now, all the sequence of characters are stored in continuous memory location. Now, this is another thing that we need to keep in mind when we are dealing with the data type strings. So, next topic, indexing of strings. Okay. Now, to understand this, we should know what index means and then we will move on. Now, as we saw, strings are ordered sequences of characters. Now, I have introduced a new term here. Now, what is the term? Ordered, right? So, that means if a string has appeared, I cannot change the order. Suppose, let us go to the previous slide and let us see the string variable message. Okay, so message 1 says hello string is going to be stored inside the string variable message. Now the character H comes first, followed by E, L, L and O. So that means there is a particular order in which, or the sequence in which the characters are appearing, right? So this is what you call by order. So in the first position H appears, second position E appears, third position L appears, fourth L and again fifth position O appears. So what are strings? They are ordered sequence of characters. Now this order will be maintained as long as you are using the string variable message1 inside your program. Okay. So now let us see what indexing is. So indexing allows you to access individual characters in a string directly by using a numeric value. So indexing is nothing but accessing or giving the position value of the string. Position value means string itself consists of a sequence of character. So each character inside the string is in a particular position. I hope this is clear. So indexing is nothing but the position value of the individual characters inside the string. Now let us see what are the different ways in which the indexing can be done. So the string indexing can be either in the forward direction or in the backward direction. So both directions the indexing is permissible in Python. Okay. Now let us see what is forward indexing and what is backward indexing. So forward indexing is zero based. Now what does that mean? The first character in the string has index 0, the next character 1 and so on. So that means the starting position, when you are following the convention of forward indexing, the starting position is always 0 and as you move from left to right, the position value increases. Okay. Now let us see what is backward indexing. Backward indexing is negative indexing, or the last character in the string has index -1. So the backward indexing has to happen from right to left. So the last character in your string will be assigned a position number -1 and as you move forward it will go like -2 etc. and so on. Now when you consider a number line, okay, this is the number line, you have 0 here, okay. Now all the values greater than 0 is considered to be positive and all the values less than 0 here are negative. Okay. Now for forward indexing I have used a concept from here to traveling to the right side, the line segment from 0 to all the positive numbers. So what is the convention to be used for backward indexing? Definitely from a value from -1 to moving from right to left. Now this is the same thing that was used here also. For the forward indexing, the first character has the index 0 and then it increments, and in backward indexing, negative indexing is followed. Okay. Now to better understand the indexing, let us take an example. Okay. So we have a string variable MSG. Now MSG is assigned a value hello here. Okay. Now the hello is enclosed between double quotes. Now it shows that it is a string and this string is assigned to the variable MSG. Now, how will this string be stored inside the memory? I told you that it will be stored character by character, and each character will be having a position value or index, right? Now, to better understand this, just imagine a long box, okay? And this box is having small cells inside it. Now, each cell is capable of holding only a single value, okay? Or only a single item. So in that case, since these are characters, now inside this cell only one character can be placed. So now this is a box. As I told you, the box is having individual cells. What are the characters inside your string? H, E, L, L, O. These are the characters, right? Now each of these characters will be falling in one of the cells. And how does it appear? It appears in continuous memory locations. It is not like H is here and E is somewhere else, then L somewhere else. No, it is not in that manner. It is always occurring in continuous memory locations. Now, what we are going to try to see here is the different forms of indexing possible inside the string. Now, we saw that there are two types of indexing possible. One is called as the forward indexing and the other is called as the backward indexing. In the forward indexing, the convention, the first position is 0, and as you move from left to right, the value increases. Now what happened in backward indexing? You have to move from right to left and the last character will be assigned -1. Okay, and you have to do -1 incrementation as you move forward. That is when you're moving from right to left. Okay, so MSG is your string variable. Now the MSG of 0, that means MSG, and inside square bracket if you're giving 0, what does it indicate? MSG of 0 means inside the string MSG, the value at the position 0. Is idea clear? Inside the string variable MSG, the value at the position 0. Now what is MSG of 0 indicating? It will be indicating the character H. Okay. Now this is a case of forward indexing. Now let us see what will be the position or index value in the case of backward indexing. Now as we are moving from right to left, it starts from -1, -2, -3, -4 and -5. So H is in which position? -5. So MSG of 0 and MSG of -5 both are pointing to the same character, right? So for each of these characters in the string, you have an index value with regards to forward indexing, and you have for the same value an index with regards to backward indexing. Likewise, all the characters will have both indexing. It can be addressed using both indexing, and this is how the addressing is written. So what is the inference that we learned here right now? The index or the position numbering can be done in two ways. What are the ways? Either in forward indexing, that is in the forward direction when you are moving from left to right, and next as backward indexing or in the backward direction. Now what was the direction? The direction was when you are moving from right to left. One is left to right and the other is right to left. Here it is L to R and here it is R to L. Is the idea clear? Left to right and then right to left. And the conventions used for forward indexing, it is 0 based and the starting position is always 0 and the value increments as you move to right. And in backward indexing, the value starts with -1 and -1 is the value or the index position given to the last element or character in your string. Okay. So moving on to the next topic, length of a string. Now, what is length of a string? Okay. Now it is nothing but the number of characters in a string. Okay. What is it? It is the count of the characters in your string. And it is not the last position value, but instead it is the count, or it is the number of characters which is present inside your string variable. So how can you find out the length of the string? The length of the string variable can be determined using the function len. Now len is a built-in function. It is defined in the language itself. So len, this is a keyword. It has to be used all in small letters, because we have learned that Python is case sensitive, and you're not supposed to, Python differentiates between uppercase and lowercase. So as a keyword is defined in the language, you have to use as such. Now let us first see the syntax, or an example of using the function len. Okay, I told you that len returns to you the number of characters in a string. So if it has to be used, you need to give an idea to the language which is a string, or whose number of characters or whose length are you going to find out, right? So there has to be some provision. Now see the provision. Len is a function. So function means you have the name followed by the parenthesis. What? Opening and closing round bracket. Now this shows that it is a function. Okay. And this function is not defined by the user, but instead it is defined in the language. Now len of message. So that means you have to pass the variable inside the function. Now, if you have to pass the string variable inside the function, you need to define it prior. Only then you can use it, right? So msg is equal to hello. Now I have assigned a value, string value, hello, to the variable msg. And then you're trying to calculate the length of this string variable. How will you represent? len of msg. Now let us see, count the number of characters. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So what is the number of characters of the string? 5. So what will be the value returned? It's 5. But if you see the position number or indexing, it is actually H will be in the position 0, 1, 2, 3 and O will be in the position 4. So you need not confuse this. When you're using the function len, it is actually the count of characters and not the last position value that will be returned. Now let us see an example, and let us try to understand how to use the len function, what should be used and what we cannot use, all those things. Okay. It's not only len, but we are trying to understand the indexing here via this example. Now I have a string variable msg, which is assigned the value hello. Okay. Now hello is enclosed between single quotes, so it shows that it is a string value. Now what am I trying to do? Print of message of 0. msg of 0, and 0 is in square brackets. Now what will happen? We saw in the indexing that the string variable and the position number, when it is given, what is the meaning interpreted by the language? It interprets that the character residing in position 0 in your string variable msg, right? Now which is a character residing in the position 0 in msg? When you're having hello, okay, HELLO, right? In forward indexing, H is in position 0, E is in position 1, L is in position 2, the next L in position 3 and O at position 4. Now when I'm giving MSG of 0, which is a character that is being indicated, H, right? MSG of 1, E. MSG of 4, O, right? Now when I'm trying to print these characters, what will happen? On the screen you will get these values, which are the values H, E, O. Okay. Now let's see the next one. Now, how is the index being shown here? Len of message minus 1. Now, what is len of MSG? The total count of characters. Okay. Now, this value would be 5 here. So, what is 5 minus 1? 4. So, MSG of 4. So, this is what you have to print here. So, what will be in the fourth position of your string variable MSG? It is O. So, again, O would be printed. I hope this is also clear. Now, let us see the next statement. What we are trying to print. MSG of len of message, right? So sorry, this had to be in square brackets. Okay, so len of message. Now what will happen here? What is len of MSG? Len of MSG is 5. Now is there an index position 5 here? No, right? So what will happen? The system will not be able to print anything in this particular position, and what will be your end result? There will be an error. Okay. Now let us see when I am trying to access the character in a position 12. Now is there a position 12 inside MSG? No, we have only till 4, right? So again an error will happen. What is the error caused? Because you're trying to reach an index position which is out of the range that is defined in your program. Okay, we have only defined a range 0 to 4 here, and when you're trying to access a value outside this range, the system will cast an error. Okay, so whenever you are using indexing, we need to make sure that you are trying to access the character that is present, the positions or index that is present in your string variable. So the next one is traversing a string. Traversing a string means traveling, right? To visit each character in a string and process it. So traveling means you're moving from one point to another, right? Now, when you're moving from one point to another, you will be doing some process also. Now, when you're trying to travel through a string, what is happening? You start from the starting position till the end of the position, you are going and visiting each character, right? So, visiting each character in a string and processing it. Whatever process that you have to do, you can do it. Now, when you're trying to move from one position to another, or when you're trying to access character by character residing in each position, in nutshell, what are you trying to do? You're trying to iterate through the elements of the string, right? Now, whenever the concept of iteration comes to your mind, you have to think, you have to use loop here. That is your conclusion. Okay? So, the syntax says for element in string. Okay? So, as long as there is an element in string, what is the action to be taken? Process the element. So, action of the loop would be written as the loop body here. Okay, so this is the syntax for traversing a string. I told you traversing is nothing but visiting each character in a string and processing it. So that means you have to iterate through the elements of the string. Now when you have to iterate, definitely you have to use a loop. So as per the syntax for iteration, now we are going to use the for loop. So for element in string. Now what does this say? As long as there is a character in the string, the loop has to perform. Okay, so whatever you have to write in the loop body can be written in the place of processing. Okay, so now let us see another example. MSG is equal to hello. Now what is the string value? Hello here. Now hello is stored inside the string variable MSG. Now as per the syntax for element, so I would be representing each element in your string. That means each character in your string. Use a keyword in as such, and what is to be written? The string variable had to be written here after a. Okay, what is the string variable? MSG. So how would you be writing here? For I in MSG, the action or the body of the loop says print I. Okay. Now what will happen? What will be the result here? Now first I will take the first element inside your string H. What is the action to be taken? Printing. So H would be printed, followed by E. Again that would be printed. L, L, O. All those would be printed in each line. Each character would be printed in each line. Ma'am, are you covering all the syllabus? Yes, right now I'm dealing with the revision tool of the topics that you have learned in your plus one. That happens to be your first and second chapter. So we are moving from 1 and 2. Revision tour of 1 and 2. Yes, yes, Mohan. So each of the characters would be printed here in each line. Okay. Now what will happen? After O, is there any character inside your string variable? No. So do you think anything would be printed here? Nothing. There is no action to be taken. So what will happen? It will exit out of the loop. The control will automatically exit from the loop. So the next word we are going to see are the string operators. Okay. Now what are the different operators? You can do concatenation, you can do replication, and then membership operators. Okay. Now we'll be seeing each one of them in detail. Now prior to that, let us see what are the operators or operator symbols to be used for each of these operations. For concatenation, we'll be using the operator symbol plus. For replication, we'll be using star, or it is also called as asterisk. Membership operators in and not in. So these are the operators used, and this is the corresponding operation that we can perform on the string. So concatenation means joining. Okay. Replication means repeating. And membership operators means it is to find whether it is a member or whether it is present inside or not. Okay. Now let us see each one of them in detail. So the first one is concatenation. So for concatenation, the operator used is, we already saw, it is the plus symbol. Now plus is used for joining two strings. Now we had already seen the plus operator. Okay, it had come under the category of arithmetic operator. In that case, plus was used for addition, and in that case, when you had the plus operator, on either side you had the operand values, and the operand values happen to be numbers. Now when the operand values were numbers, how did plus behave? It was performing the addition operation. But here, in the case of strings, plus is used for joining two strings, right? So let us see how this would be done. Okay. Now I have a string of the name good. I have another string evening. Okay. Now when I am writing a plus symbol, or when I have a plus and on either side you have string values, that is, one is good and the other is evening. What is the end result? The end result is joining of these two things. What will happen? Good evening would come. Okay. Now I have tried to print the value. So what will be the output? Both the strings would be concatenated or joined, and the joined result would be printed on your screen. Now what is the thing that you have to note here when you are using the concatenation operator? Now whenever you are using an operator, the values on either side are called to be operands. Okay. The values are called to be operands and the symbol is called to be the operator. Now when you are using the plus operator, we have to make sure that the operands on either side of the operator should be of the same type. Same type means same data type, right? If the data type of both the operands are numbers, plus will take the action of addition. If both the operands are of string type, the plus will take the action of concatenation. Now see how the plus operator is behaving. It is behaving differently in different situation. Okay. That is, in one case, when both the operands are numbers, it took the form of addition. The functionality was addition. When both the operands were string type, the process done was concatenation or joining. Okay. Now let us see an example. Now it is nothing but to understand concatenation. Now I have two string variables, okay, MSG and MSG1. I'm trying to read a string from the user. Now how will you read some value from the user? Definitely using input function. Okay. Now what is the return type of input function? String, right? So whatever you are typing from the keyboard, it will be captured and stored in MSG. The first string would be copied to MSG, right? The second string that you are entering would be copied to MSG1, right? Now, since no other typecasting is being done here, whatever you are inputting is in the form of string and it will be stored in the variable. Since it's a string, MSG and MSG1 are string variables. Now, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to concatenate. Now, how do I concatenate it? Using the operator plus. So, I have to write the plus operator, and on either side, I have to write the string variables or your operands. Okay. So, on one side, you will be writing MSG and the other side MSG1. When you're trying to print the value of this expression, what will happen? Here plus is acting as the concatenation because MSG and MSG1 are string. Okay. So what will be the result of this print statement? The first string entered, the second string entered, and both would be joined together. That will be your end result. Now suppose my first string that I am trying to enter is good. The second string that I entered is good, evening. So what will be MSG plus MSG1? The answer would be good evening without any space in between. Now, when I'm trying to print MSG and MSG1, see, there is no change in the value of those string variables. Whatever value was there in MSG would be printed, MSG1 also would be printed. Only for the expression of concatenation will you be getting the result of joined strings. Okay. Next, what we are going to see the replication. Replication means nothing but repeating. Okay. Now, for replication to happen, you have to use the star or asterisk symbol. Okay. Now, what is the symbol used? Asterisk or star, right? It is used to replicate a string number of times. Okay, what does it say? You have to, it is used for repeating a string a number of times. So, what all should be given here? You need to give the string value or the string variable and then followed by the number of times it has to repeat. So, both the things have to be represented here. Only then the replication happens. We have already seen how asterisks behave. When on either side of asterisk you had numbers, how did it behave? It had behaved like it was performing multiplication on two numbers, right? So asterisk is used to replicate a string a number of times. Now, how will you do for replicating the string? See, you have to give a number followed by the asterisk and then the string. Actually, it can happen either way also. Okay. Now, so 3 asterisks high. One is a number and one is a string. So what will happen? The string will be repeated 3 times. Now suppose instead of high, the string high, if there was a number here, the product would have been displayed here. Now one is a string and one is a number. So the result is the string replicated 3 times. Okay. So whenever you have to perform a replication, what you need to keep in mind is one operand must be string type and the other should be number type. Only then the replication happens. If both are numbers, what will be the action performed? The action performed would be multiplication. Now both cannot be string type, then it is an error also. Okay. So this is how asterisk has to be used. Now let us see another example to understand the replication better. Now message equal to input of enter a string. So that means whatever the user is inputting from the keyboard is treated as a string and stored in the string variable MSG. Now I'm trying to print MSG asterisk 3 and MSG. Now what will be MSG asterisk 3? If you have entered the string good, good would be replicated or repeated 3 times, or 3 times the message good would be displayed on your screen without any space in between. Okay, so output of this is good replicated 3 times. Now when I'm trying to print MSG, so whatever value, whatever string you have entered is stored in MSG. There is no change, the same string would be displayed here. Okay, so when you replicate, it doesn't mean that your original string value is copied to the new string. Okay, that means the replicated value is not overwritten in your string variable. Instead, only the replicated value would be shown. If you have to store it somewhere, then you have to give the assignment operator and then a variable. Say for example, if I'm writing x is equal to and then assigning, the string would be assigned to the variable x and x will be taking the data type string. Okay, so this is how replication happens in strings. So the next what we are going to see is membership operators. Now what are the membership operators in and not in? Now before going into the membership operators, now let us see what do you mean by the term membership. So you have an organization or you have a forum and then you try to enroll inside the forum, then you become a member of the forum, right? If somebody is trying to check whether you are a member or not, since you have enrolled, what will be the answer? Yes, you are a member of that forum. And if suppose you have not enrolled in the forum and somebody is trying to check if this particular name is a member inside the forum, what will be the result? False, right? Or no. It is the same way in which membership operators also behave. The different membership operators are in and not in. Okay. Now, the values returned here also is either true or false. That is Boolean values, either yes or no. Correspondingly, the Boolean values here are true or false. Now let us see what in will do and what not in will do. Okay. What in does is it will return true if a character or substring is present in the given string. Okay. So the membership operator in will return true if the character or substring. See, you can even check for a character or a portion of the string. When it is a portion of the string, it is also a string, right? But a substring. Not as large as your original string, but a substring. You need to check whether a character or a string is present in a given string or not. So if it is present, the answer returned would be true, and otherwise what is the answer returned? It will be returned the Boolean false. Now how will not in behave? Not in behaves exactly opposite to how in behaves. Okay. So it will return true if a character or substring is not present in the given string and false otherwise. Okay. I've given a small example here to understand how in and not in works here. Gaurav, yes. Okay. So I'm writing H in the string hello. Okay, now H is a character. Is this character H present in hello? So the answer is yes, because H is present in hello. So the what will be the value returned? The value returned would be Boolean true. Now see, I'm trying to again check capital H is present in the string hello. Okay. Now, is capital H present here? No, right? Because Python is case sensitive. It distinguishes between uppercase and lowercase. It treats them both differently. So, since capital H is not present inside your string, the answer or result displayed would be false. Okay. Now, this is a case in which the membership operator in is behaving. Now, let us see how not in is going to behave. I'm using the same string and same character for the comparison. I'm writing H is not in small hello. Small letter H not in hello. Is this true? False, right? Because H is present in the string. Now what if I'm checking capital H is not in hello? Since Python is case sensitive, I know that the uppercase H is not present in your string and hence the value returned would be true. So this is how in operator and not in operators are working. Actually, one is a complement of the other. Okay. So the next thing is string slice. Now, where have you come across the term slice? We have usually come across a slice when you are cutting fruits, right? We say it is a fruit slice. Now, the slice is also a part of the fruit and hence it is also a fruit, right? Similarly, when you're trying string slices means again cutting the string into pieces, right? If suppose this is a pen and I'm trying to cut it, the cut portion is also a part of this pen, right? So similarly, slices means nothing but a part of your original object. When it is a string slice, it is a part of the string. And when you are cutting the string, what happens? I'll be cutting from this point to this point. Now, all the elements present here are in continuous memory locations. Okay. So when you're cutting a string or slicing a string, the end result is also a string. Okay, this is a first understanding that you need to have. So string slices refers to the part of the string containing some contiguous characters from the string. Okay. Now it is sliced using a range of indices, that is n is to m. So sliced using the indices, that is n is to m. Now what you need to understand is when you're trying to slice, there is a starting position as well as an ending position, and this is how you get the part of the string, right? Now this starting and ending position are called to be the range of your slice, or the starting index value and the ending index value. So it is sliced using a range of indices, that is n is to m. Now here n would be your starting position or index value and m is your stop position or the end of your slice. And the mandatory condition is n and m should be integers and they should be the legal integers also. Now what will be the output? Again a string, or a part of the string is again a string, right? So it will be a sequence of characters, but note the point. The sequence of characters start from position n to m minus 1. So that means n and m are not inclusive inside the slicing. Only n is inclusive but m is not inclusive. Okay, one of them is inclusive and the other is not a part of the slice. So see an example. I have a variable, string variable with the name var, and inside var I have stored the string good evening. Now good evening is inside double quotes, so definitely this is a string, right? So var is a string. Now let us see how this is going to be stored inside our memory. I told you how is the assumption to be made. The assumption, it is a linear box. Okay, Now this box will have individual cells, and inside each cell each character would be residing. Now see here, from starting from G, good, followed by the space and then evening. Okay, it will be saved like this. Now see, on the top of the box and at the bottom I have indicated the indices or the index position. Now on the top of the box, what is it? It is all positive numbers, so these are forward indexing, and below the box I have negative numbers, so this is backward indexing. Okay, so on either way you should be able to address the string or address a specific character inside the string, right? So the slicing can also happen either using the forward indices or using the backward indices. Clear? So let us see the first slice. VAR. Now inside the square bracket you need to show the indices, right? Now the index is starting index and stop index. Now starting index position is 6 and the stopping index is 10. So what will be the range of values? From 6 to 9, right? So I'll travel the string, I'll find the 6th position, right? And then to 9, I'll move till 9. Will 10th be taken? Position number 10 be taken? No, because stop is not a part of your slice, but stop -1 is a part of your slice. Okay. So when you're trying to slice this and print, what will be the end result? The substring starting from small letter v till NIN. Sorry, N is not here, right? Okay. So VENI. This N would not be here. Clear? So this is your result. Now VAR of 6 colon, and see the second value is omitted here, right? So you have the first value and the stop value is not being shown. So what will happen? What will happen here? You start slicing from the 6th position. So slice happens from here. So the string will start from here. Substring will start from small letter v, and then is the stop value indicated here? No, right? So the slicing will be happening till the end. Is the idea clear? If the stop value is omitted, the slicing starts from your start position and ends till the end of your string. Okay, so VENING would be your result. Here. Now let us see the next slice. See here, I can use both forward as well as the convention of both forward as well as backward indexing. Now in this case, the slicing is starting from your third position, that is from here. Clear? And it has to move till -2. So that means, will -2 be considered? No. So it will be till here. So it will start from D. D space and even E. It will go only till I. Clear? So this is the sliced portion or your substring for 3 is to -2. Clear? Now let us see the next slice. Now our value is omitted here. Now what is the value omitted? The start value, but the stop value is given. Clear? So what will happen here? By default, it will start from your first value. It will move till your 4th position. But since 4 is stop, it will not be considered. 4 minus 1, it will be taking 3. So what will be the end result? Good. So what we saw right now is you can slice either using your forward index or by using your backward index. This is one point. The second point is that you can either ignore the start value or you can ignore the stop value also. If the stop value is ignored, from your starting position till the end of your string would be considered. If your start value is omitted, every time by default the start value is going to be taken to be your first character of your string. Okay. So let us move on to another example. Now in this example, I have used a variable var and it is assigned a string variable Python. Okay, what is the value of the string? Python. Now Python is enclosed between double quotes. Now it shows that it is a string and then it is stored to var. Now what will be the data type of var? Again, string, right? Now I am trying to do a slicing here and then I have used a plus operator. Whenever a slicing happens, what is returned here? A string value. The sliced value here again a string. So string plus string means it is definitely concatenation or joining, right? And I'm trying to print the value. Now let me see what is the output that I'm going to get. Okay. So see, the output that I got is my original string. That is what is the value in var Python. So this is the output that I am getting. Now we need to understand how did this both slicing and concatenation happen. Now see the first slicing var in which your start value is omitted and you have the stop value. So let me number the position here 0, 1, 2 and H would be in position 3, O in position 4 and N in position 5. So total there are 6 characters. The starting position is 0 and the ending position is 5. Now I have omitted the starting position in the first slice, okay? And I have to move till 5. So will 5 be considered? No. So what will be the result of this slice? It is actually the string Python. It is a substring of your main string var and the result is Python. Now see the result of the second slice. Here it is variable of 5 colon and then the after colon comes your stop index and the stop index is omitted here, right? So start has to be taken, so this value would be taken and since stop is not considered, what will be your result? No other value. Since stop is not mentioned, you have to travel till the end of your string. What is left here? Just the character n, right? Now what you have to do? You have to do the concatenation of the two slices. So Python and n would be concatenated to give you the result Python. So now did you understand how you arrived at your original string? So what is the conclusion that we learned from these slices? If you're having a string s, okay, for any string s and suppose for any index n, index means any position number n, if you're trying to slice and concatenate like this, that is s of, in the first slice you have omitted the starting position and then written n plus s of, you start with n and then omit your stop. And when you try to concatenate these two slices, what is the end result? The end result is your original string S. Is the idea clear? So, for any index n, when you have such a slicing by omitting the first position and such a slicing by omitting the stop position, and when you're trying to concatenate it, what is the end result? You always end up with your original string. Now, let us see one more example. I have a variable s in which the string Python is assigned. Now, Python, the word Python is in double quotes, so hence it is a string, right? And s is the string variable. Now, I know that p is in position number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and n is in position number 5, right? Now, I'm trying to print s of 7. Do you think such an index is present here? No. So we already saw that when you're trying to access a character which is out of bound or out of range inside your string, what will happen? An error would be casted in your program saying that the value is out of bound, right? But in the case of slicing, if you're trying to print a slice from some starting position to some position which is out of bound of your string, Or if you're completely trying to slice a portion which is out of bound, okay, whatever it be, it will not cast an error. Instead, it will give you some or the other output. Either you will end up with no output or some small output. So if you're trying to print in the same string, okay, in the same string S, if I'm trying to slice 4:7, so that means this would be your fourth position, right? To 7 means 7 is a value which is outside the range of your string. But in slicing, even when you are giving a range outside the range of, if even when you are giving an index out of the range of your string, Python will not cast an error. Okay. So if 7 is given, the only possibility is starting from fourth position to the last of the string. What is it? ON. So you will get the output as ON. Now when you're trying to slice 6:10, that means only till fifth position you have characters in your string, right? So when you're trying to have a slice outside this range, you have an empty string as the result. What is the conclusion? Slicing a string outside the bound do not cause any error. But if you try to access the character which is out of range of your string, what will happen? It will cast an error. So with this, we are winding up today's session. So before winding up, let us recollect what all did we learn today. Okay. We started with the jump statements. That is, we started with a recap of the sessions that we did on our previous class. So the different jump statements available in Python. The statements that we saw are break and continue. We saw that both the statements would function inside a loop, and how to use the break and continue. Usually they are attached with if conditionals, and whenever you are using break and when break gets triggered, what is the action performed? It will completely exit out of the loop. No matter whatever statements are beneath it, it will ignore and then it will completely run out of the loop. The loop will get terminated, right? But when you're using continue, what happens? Continue is also a jump statement. The jumping happens from the point where the continue is triggered to the start of the loop, or the loop is iterated again for the next iteration value. So this is how continue worked. So both were jump statements, both were triggering a control transfer from a point to another point, but both were behaving differently. One completely exited out of the loop and the other would let you continue the loop for the next iteration but not for the present iteration. Okay. Yes, good evening, Madhav. And then indexing of strings. In indexing, we saw how the position values could be assigned to the string. We saw both forward indexing as well as backward indexing. And we also saw that if we are trying to access a position which is out of the range of the string, an error would be cast. Now, to determine the length of the string, length is nothing but the count of the characters inside your string. Okay, be it letters, numbers or spaces, everything would be counted as your character, and anything which is enclosed between the quotes would come under the counting of your length, and you needn't confuse it with your last index value. Now, how is the length of the string calculated? Using the function len. Then we saw traversing a string, that is, you're traveling from the starting position till the end. Okay, so you're iterating through the elements of the string, that was by using the for loop. Then we saw the different string operators, which were there. Concatenation, you use the plus operator. For replication, you use star. And membership operators to check whether a member is present inside the string or not, and how the Boolean values were returned based on the different usages of the membership operators. Okay. Now concatenation was joining, and when we learned the plus operator, we also saw that if the operand values for the plus operators are both numbers, plus behave like addition. And if both were strings, it behaved like concatenation. So what is a constraint? Whenever you're using plus operator, both the operands should be of same type. Later we saw replication, that means repeating a string a definite number of times. So you definitely need to show the string there, and then the number of times the string has to be repeated, right? Here also we saw a note that if both the operand values are numbers, asterisk behaved or took the form of multiplication, right? But when one is a string and the other is a number, how did it behave? It behaved the replication, and replication was performed on the string. Okay. Then string slices means cutting and then taking a portion. So the portion would be also a string. This is the first understanding that we need to have. Whenever we are slicing a main string, the part you get is also a string. So it can be either as a character or a sequence of characters. Whatever it is a substring. Okay. So with this note, we are winding up today's class. So before winding up, let me remind you once more of my promo code SLYT, which will help you in a 10% discount in the subscription fees of various courses in the Unacademy. So I hope there are no doubts and all the doubts are cleared. So, okay, then good night and meet you on the next day with a new session.